Hi, welcome to my psychic tarot reading on Johann Sebastian Bach. If you would like your own personal, private, confidential psychic tarot reading from me, or an astrology birth chart reading from me, please check out my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. I am available for readings, and I would love to read for you. Purchase your reading directly from my website. After you purchase your reading, I'll send you a confirmation email within 24 hours, and then within 1 to 3 days, we will get your reading done. Usually it's sooner than 1 to 3 days. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, comment, and share. Follow me on my social media pages. The links to my social media, my Instagram and Facebook, are in the description box. The link to my website is also in the description box. The link to my website is also in the comment section, as well as the title of this video. Also, make sure that you subscribe, like this video, comment, share, hit the bell next to the subscribe button as well, and check out my ebook on Amazon for download worldwide called Zodiac Signs Sex Language, and also my singles on iTunes as well. Just type in my name on Amazon and iTunes and it'll pop up. Speaking of music, as you can tell if you've listened to my music, I have a wider range of interests and musical inspirations, and that includes classical music, that includes Bach. So for some reason, I feel compelled to do a reading on Bach. I do like his music a lot, and it's really good music to listen to when you want to focus, when you want to get in the zone, if you're working on a project or editing YouTube videos or something like that. But it's just good to have in the background in general. So with that being said, I want to know, what was Bach like as a person, maybe what inspired him to do music, and I kind of want to know what he thinks of the music today, but we'll see how many questions we get into. So let's jump right into it. Thank you for listening and watching. Okay. So give me some insight into who Johann Sebastian Bach was as a person, as an individual. Aside from who we know him as, aside from the musical composer, who was he as a person behind closed doors, behind the scenes? What was Johann Sebastian Bach like as a person when he was alive? He felt misunderstood growing up. He felt like out of place. He felt like he didn't belong in a big sense. So I feel like music was his outlet. Music was his way of relating, in a sense, relating to people, kind of meeting people halfway. Wondering if he struggled with some vices. He struggled with depression behind the scenes. I'm wondering if he struggled with self-esteem issues as well behind the scenes. Definitely some things that drove his interest in music, drove his kind of success in music. I feel like there's something about success with music that kind of like it just made sense. It clicked for him. It was the easiest way for him to make a name for himself. It was his kind of second language in a way. I'm wondering what zodiac sign he was. I get the Two of Cups here. I feel like he liked to surround himself with artistic people, creative people, out of the box thinkers. I'm wondering if he was a drinker or something like that. But I do feel like he liked to surround himself with out of the box thinkers, creatives, musicians. I feel like that's where he gained a lot of his inspiration, actually, from the people around him. I get the Ten of Coins here. With the Three of Swords, I'm wondering if there was something about when he was alive, if it was difficult for him to kind of make a lot of money composing or fighting for his rights when it came to composing and getting his money. Obviously, how money was made off of music then, it does not compare to how it's made now, even in 2019. So I do feel like there was something about him where he had to fight for his rights when it came to getting money for his music and getting money for the music he created. And I feel like that was the biggest thing for him. I'm wondering if he was an earth sign. I feel like he was like, okay, I'm good at music. This is what this is what I'm meant to do. But how do I make money off of this? I'm wondering if there was a wife around him, a woman around him who helped him with that kind of journey of, okay, this is how we're gonna make money off of this. I'm wondering if he also had children, because I feel like if he had children, there's maybe a boy especially who maybe struggled growing up with living up to his father's kind of legacy. Kind of like almost like the Jackson kids in a sense. But of that time. Interestingly enough, I feel like when he passed away, he he spent a lot of time around his family and his children if he has children. You guys are gonna have to clarify whether or not he had children. But he was definitely a hardworking man. He loved family time. He loved his regular life, but he really enjoyed music and making music and making strides with that. That was his true passion. All right, obviously. And look at where it took him. Even it made him immortal. So I kind of got two questions answered in one. What was he like as a person, and what was his like passion for music? What drove him to do music? Maybe I just want to know, what were Bach's inspirations? What were his inspirations for his music? Where did Bach draw his inspiration? Where did Johann Sebastian Bach draw his inspiration for his music? I feel like he was really interested in art and creativity. Like, I feel like, I don't know why I see him, like, back in the day, you guys had to, like, if you wanted a picture of yourself, you had to basically sit hours upon hours on end for a painting. But it's like, I see him sitting, but it's also, he's, like, intrigued in the process of what the painter is doing. So it's like he's sitting, and then he, like, gets up and kind of looks at the painting, and it's like, oh, wow. I mean, the painter has to kind of tell him, okay, can you go back and sit? Like, let me do my process. You do your thing. That's how I kind of see it. Very much an artistic kind of guy. Where did Bach draw his inspiration for his music? Very, intrigued, very wide-eyed about the world. Like, he loved to learn. From his studies, from kind of everyday things he saw, I feel like is where he drew inspiration. I'm wondering if he traveled or something like that, because I feel like he kind of drew inspiration from all over the world, in a sense, like maybe from his travels in the world in some sense as well. I feel like especially when it comes to specific sounds he used in his music. Definitely, came from hardships, difficulties within himself, struggles, internal struggles within himself, like I was saying, was a driving factor for his music and his passion with music. Also, some wondering if there was something with love, or maybe his mother, a mother figure in some sense, and the loss of that. But I feel like he was really a practical guy. Once again, I feel like he drew inspiration from the people around him, especially creative people, musical people. But I feel like he was a very practical guy, where, he kind of knew that in order to make a living, in order to make this work, he was going to have to figure out a way to monetize his music in that day and age. I feel like he got paid maybe mostly from doing, like, gigs, like, where he performed live for people. But I feel like there's something about, I don't think I guess they didn't have recordings then. I don't know, but it's just like, there's a big thing about monetizing his music back then and getting fair rights and things like that I'm seeing. Like, I think if Bach were living today, we would see him go through a lot of legal battles with getting, like, his music, It's like almost like the artists today where like they want like control over their masters. It's almost like that situation for Bach back then. So I'm hoping that in the spirit realm he's been able to see his music amass money, and he's been able to kind of gain control over that. All right, because I feel like that's his biggest thing is he just wants to, the rights of his music. He wants to, like, that's even something in the spiritual realm that he's very particular about is like owning the rights to my music and, you know, um, having it be duplicated and, that being something as well. So that's very interesting. All right, I guess my last question is I want to know what does Johann Sebastian Bach think of today's music? If Johann Sebastian Bach was alive today, what would he think of today's music? If he still created the legacy he did, and he, or what does he think of the music of today in the spiritual realm? Obviously, he grew up in a different time, so I definitely feel like he has a more appreciation over the music, the melody, rather than the words. But I get the sense where if the music and the words and the melody collide together to make even more beautiful music to your ears, I feel like he really appreciates that. It's like he's big on melody. He's big on like instruments and instrumentals type of thing. Definitely feel like he's in the spiritual realm helping artists, especially artists that connect with his music or his image. I think he thinks it's all about the money. It's all about the money in today's age when it comes to music. It's not really about the art, and then there's something about the driving force behind music, people doing music, and their passion could be coming from dark places. Granted, the music, his driving force maybe came from a dark place as well, but it's like, in today's genre, that darkness is manifesting in the music that people create, that we create, whereas the music that he created back then, he was able to kind of be an alchemist and transform that energy into something a bit more positive. So I feel like he sees that as something, a lot of people who do music have not yet mastered, especially young people who do music. So I think in a lot of ways, I think Bach was a magician in music. A magician in music. A magician in music. He was literally a magician in music. Like if Bach were living today, he would be one of the #1 producers. I promise you. I promise you. An absolute genius when it came to music. It's in the cards. And he was fighting for rights over masters and, owning the rights of his music before all the artists were. So shout out to Bach for that. With that being said, thank you for listening and watching. Remember, if you would like your own personal reading from me, check out my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com. I am available for readings and I would love to read for you. Until next time, remember the links to my website's in the description box. It's in the comment section. It's also in the title of this video. I look forward to reading for you. Thank you for listening and watching. Subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.